Hello, my name's Harold Flower. Welcome to my YouTube channel. You know, I'd like to make a review of Dune eventually, but it's important to me, so I want to get a little better at making videos before I tackle it. So instead, I thought I'd talk about something related, a parody. National Lampoon's Dune by Ellis Weiner. Arrakis, Dune, desert planet, home of the giant pretzels, and the only source of beer in the universe. Lotto Agamemnides and his great big house, by order of the Padidbara Emperor Shaddap IV, go there to replace House Hard-Chargen as its administrators and to establish beer bottling facilities. But when the Emperor and Vladimir Hard-Chargen depose him by planting evidence of shady accounting, with the intention of turning Arrakis into the Imperium's first lounge planet, Paul, that's P-A-L-L, Lotto's heir, escapes with his mother and plans to take revenge with the help of the planet's natives, the Freedmen Men. Dune was published in 1984, and it was the second parody novel National Lampoon published, after Lord of the Rings, which I haven't read. I liked The Lord of the Rings when I got around to reading it, but I don't really care about it enough to read a parody of it. Anyway, Dune is a pretty funny book. Ellis Weiner does a great job of mimicking Frank Herbert's writing style. As even Dune's most ardent fans tend to admit, Herbert's prose is kind of clunky, so it's satisfying how Weiner ridicules it by accentuating its idiosyncrasies. Stick around at the end of the video. I'll read my favorite part, and you can see what I'm talking about. And the book is filled with clever wordplay. Let me share one of my favorite entries in the book's glossary. Here's Frank Herbert's definition of the Gom Jabbar. The high-handed enemy, that specific poison needle tipped with metacyanide used by Bene Gesserit proctors in the death alternative test of human awareness. And here's the definition of the equivalent in National Lampoon's Dune, the Abdul-Jabbar. The high-handed, long-legged enemy, a small thing you can kill somebody with somehow, used by bony Maronites for frightening children, also known as the Skyhook. That's just fantastic. Oh wait, here's another one. CHOAM, acronym for Combine Hanet Ober Advancer Mercantiles, the Universal Development Corporation controlled by the Emperor and the Great Houses, with the Guild and Bene Gesserit as silent partners. And Noam Chomsky, Neutralis Organizational ABBA Mercantile Condominium Habitampa Orthonova Minnehaha Shostakovich Categorical Imperative, huge interplanetary industrial combine managed by the Great Big Houses and the Emperor. Seriously, if you have strong feelings about Dune, you have to read this book. I don't think I'd recommend it if you don't, though. If you read Dune and walked away from it thinking, that was alright, I guess, or, I wasn't really into it, but I've read worse, I think you might be bored by National Lampoon's Dune. But if you love or hate Herbert's Dune, or if, like me, you have a love-hate relationship with it, I think you'll have a good time with Weiner's Dune. It's a real shame the book hasn't been reissued, not even as an ebook, by whoever owns the rights. I don't know why they didn't do it when the new movies came out, and I hate that I'm recommending it, and cheap used copies are kind of rare. If anyone asks, I just might type up the whole book on a Google Doc and share it. It's not very long, about 200 pages, with fairly large font. I just might do it. I think I'll give National Lampoon's Dune 4 out of 5 stars. That might seem a bit low, given how complimentary I've been so far, but there are some jokes that don't really land, and like the book it's based on, I think the ending is rushed. Also, and this isn't meant to be a criticism, just something I want to point out, some of the references in the book are kind of obscure these days. For instance, at one point, Vladimir Hardchargin and his Mantan, Peter de Vries, mention an architect named Johnson Philip. I had to look up whom that was referencing. It was an allusion to Philip Johnson, an American architect. I know the National Lampoon was spun off of the Harvard Lampoon. I guess if you were an Ivy League student in the 80s, you would have kept up with architecture criticism regardless of your major. Okay, now let me read an excerpt from National Lampoon's Dune. Like I said, it's my favorite part. Oh, one thing before I get started. I typed out the text so you could read along, but I realized a bit too late that the font I was using, the italicized version, looks almost identical to the regular version. So for text that's italicized in the book, I used underlined text instead. Okay, let's get started. Wait a minute, he murmured. The beer. Paul, his mother said, understanding everything. You understand everything, mother? He said savagely. We must find the freedmen men. They control the beer. If we can control them, we can do business with everyone. The emperor, the guild, everyone. Control them? Jessica asked, jarred at the deepest levels of awareness by a monstrous hint implication suggested by her son's talk words. How? I don't know yet, Paul said. We'll have to join them first. Jessica stared. Could it be, she thought, that strange and savage people? The freedmen men? Is it truly necessary we ally ourselves with them? To live as they live, dress as they dress, survive on nothing but beer and pretzels and desserts until we, like they, end up red-eyed and disgusting and fat? No, she cried. It must not be. Be quiet, Paul said, and Jessica was shocked by the man tones and shut-up harmonics in his voice. We've no alternative. They already think me the Model T. Very well, there's a start in that. But it's an insufficient thing. Jessica felt fearful of the cold precision of his being, yet could not but query. But what if you're not their Model T? What if you're only our Kumquat Haagen-Dazs? I don't know, he cried, whirling on her, his eyes raged wild. I don't know if I am the Kumquat Haagen-Dazs or not. I have no idea what the Kumquat Haagen-Dazs is. Jessica stared at him. Scare raspings of skin terror clawed along her epidermis. Tiny needle pointings of not knowing what to think dread echoed somewhere in her mind. Somewhere, within her generous mouth, she tried to swallow in a dry throat. Neither do I, she at last confessed. You don't? No, she stammered. All my Bony Moroni teachers refer to it as if we all knew its meaning. And no one did? No, Paul. She looked away, abashed. I think it has something to do with being able to prepare many dishes so they all end up being ready at the same time. Be quiet. Paul turned away, suddenly absorbed in the capacity of his mind for calculation. The inflow of data proceeded steadily, inexorably, and the computations that arose from it fed back into the system. He was vaulting up notches of awareness in the levels of his conscious apprehension, yet he was also not subsumed by those very streamings of thought. He was therefore able to know at that precise instant that what he was engaged in at that moment was called thinking, and the climax resolution solution process that seemed so ineffable was in reality nothing more or less than having an idea. That maybe even the revved-up mothers don't know what the Kumquat Haagen-Dazs is, his mother was saying. He whirled to face her. It doesn't matter, Paul said. He rose and clambered atop a small rock candy ledge, held his arms out, and intoned to the entire Great White Way, ghostly in the moonlight. It doesn't matter. All that matters is, I have a great idea. He leaped down and confronted her, wild-eyed, his eyes burning with an inner great idea having fire. I have need of a job, Mother, and the freedmen men can give it to me. We must find them. We'll tell them I am the Kumquat Haagen-Dazs. Since no one knows what it is, no one's to say it isn't me. Paul saw it all in that stopped instant of mental imagining. The Missionaria Phonobolonica had been here. Paul's claim at Kumquat Haagen-Dazitude would be credited. From that would emerge the necessary thing, what his father had called beer power. And Paul felt a great peace suddenly blossom within himself. The question that had plagued him since the moving day on Cowboyden had been answered. He sagged, fell to his knees, and felt tears streaming from his eyes and coursing down his youthful cheeks. He lifted his face to the twin moons of his new homeworld. "Father," he cried, "I have a career." I love this section because Frank Herbert never clearly explains what the Kwisatz Haderach is. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have a nice day.